Welcome to the Alabama Bass Trail Podcast, brought to you by Phoenix Boats. Now, here are your hosts, Alabama Bass Trail Program Director, Kate Donaldson.
Welcome into the Alabama Bass Trail Podcast presented by Phoenix Boats. I'm Kay Donaldson, the director of the Alabama Bass Trail, and your host for this week's podcast. And what a week. This is your post ICAST podcast. And matter of fact, let me make sure all the phones are on silent because that's just what we need to be doing. Post ICAST. And it was a busy, hot, wet, humid week in Orlando, Florida, but always a great time. I don't want anyone to think that I'm complaining because I know there's a lot of people that would like to go to ICAST, and we're going to talk about that in just a little bit. I saw a lot of comments, actually received several comments and messages about ICAST while I was down there, and I'm going to go over that in just a little bit from my perspective, certainly not the perspective of everyone. And if we look like we're having a little bit of technical issues today, we are. I am in the process of moving. I have changed laptops, computers, all the things. I have 3 devices. I have a MacBook, I have a Mac, a MacBook, and a MacBook Pro. And I have switched devices all morning, and I am having difficulties on all of them. So if I look like I'm having a little bit of an issue this morning, it is not your computer screen. Do not reset. Do not turn everything off. I'm just literally having issues. So I'm sure that doesn't surprise any of you. But I do want to say this was the first time in 14 years. I've been going to ICAST 14 years, which is hard to believe. It's been 14 years, but it has 14 years I've been going to ICAST. And this is the first time I've ever got to take one of the kids along. Emma used to travel with me quite a bit in the early days of me working for Alabama Mountain Lakes. She used to travel with me to shows and stuff, but the first time I've ever gotten to take one of the kids to ICAST. And so Jake accompanied me to ICAST this year. We left on Sunday, which is a couple days early for me, actually. But the reason he went was to play in the Lunkers and Bunkers golf tournament. And first time we've ever done that. Was a lot of fun. Normally when I play on behalf of the ABT, I have several anglers that play with me, but let's face it, Orlando is a little bit of a haul for us to ask anglers to go and play on behalf of the Alabama Bass Trail. But Jake went with me. He participated with me. We also had Miss Tammy Foshi, formerly of Big Bite Bait. She is now with Fishing Tackle Retailer. And then also, and I know I'm going to butcher his name, so I'm just going to look at it, Jim Kirkorado, and he is with the Outdoor Stewards program. And I wrote that down just so that I would not forget it. But we raised a lot of money for Keep America Fishing. Just over $17,500 was raised for that great organization. If you don't know what they do, they stay very active in legislation up in Washington, as well as just in your local communities and states, working on programs that keep America fishing. They also do a big study with Southwick and Associates each year that talks about how fishing is growing, the trends that we are seeing, and gives us some really good information, especially on the tourism side of what we do, to let us know the ins and outs of the growth of the fishing tourism, whether that be freshwater and saltwater. They also do something very similar to that for hunting and all of that. They also take a strong look at the female participation, which is growing rapidly in the sport. So always good to be able to work with them and also use the data that they pay so dearly for. So I will say I went to their sport fishing summit last year in October, and the amount of data that you're able to get and to know that they are working on your behalf. That doesn't seem important until it's important, until you have, regulations that come through that may not benefit you as an angler, may not benefit us as a tourism organization. They are out there working on our behalf legislatively in the state of Alabama and on a national scale. So we want to do everything we can do to keep them out there, working for us. And in great Alabama Bass Trail fashion, someone must have put the word out that I was coming and playing in the Lunkers and Bunkers golf tournament, because Sunday afternoon, right on key, we got a downpour of rain. And I think it rained about 7 or 8 hours. So as soon as we walk out onto the golf course, it's like a muddy marsh, and it was a beautiful golf course. Celebration Golf Resort is who hosted us. It was a beautiful golf course, absolutely phenomenal, except it was very, 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 very wet. And it was very steamy, a balmy 98 degrees and 1000% humidity. So it was exactly like an Alabama Bass Trail tournament, but different. But they must have known that I was coming. So I mean, marshy, swampy, just downright disgusting at the end of the day. For most of you that know, you will rarely see me with my hair up if I'm not by a pool. Um, but on hole three, the hair went up. There was nothing else that was going to happen but that hair to get off of my neck. So I will say it must have brought me some good luck because I did win the closest to the pin in the women's division. To my best recollection, and I've asked several people have asked me this. I think it was like 140 yards to the pin from the women's tees. I overshot that by 10 and a half to 12 feet. I was closest to the pin by at least 5 feet maybe. So on that one hole, I actually did quite well. I didn't play terrible, but I certainly didn't play my best, but somewhere between 10 and a half and 12 feet to the pin, won a cute little trophy and a gift certificate from the great people there at the outdoor stewards of conservation. So Jim Curicato that played in the tournament with us. So we had a great time. Absolutely. It was a lot of fun. Jake hope he makes the team next year, but it was a lot of fun. And again, for a great cause. So um, hoping that hiring Miss Angela give me a little bit more time to stay on the golf course. I really enjoyed it way more than I thought. I'm not going to lie. As soon as I signed up for it, I started dreading it right away. But Teresa Johnson at Phoenix Boats asked me to play in the tournament. I got to meet her daughter Scout. Got to spend some time with them over the week, and it was a lot of fun. Davey Hyatt and his wife, Kevin Van Dam and Sherry was there. Gerald Swindle, Leanne, Trey Swindle was with us. Got to spend some time with Shannon Wheeler, who does some social media stuff for us as well. And on and on and on. I mean, just tons and tons of people got to see Matt and Dan from Rapala, spent some great time with them. Just a lot of fun, but a lot of networking. And I had quite a few appointments. I'm going to get into that when I talk about ICAST, the show, here in just a minute. But thanks to everyone at ICAST, the American Sportfish Association, for having us. Thank you to Brianna and Robert from Power Pole for organizing the golf tournament and making it such a success. $17,596.49 raised for Keep America Fishing. So that being said, before I get into ICAST, as most of you know, and I mentioned earlier, that I'm moving. It's a great time for that, kind of a recharge and reset, and all the kids are out of the house, and it's a perfect time to do that. But I was looking through some of my things in my office. Sunday was dedicated to packing up my office, and perfect timing. And that just I hear that, and I know this is gonna go off the rails, and this is not gonna be a traditional Alabama Bass Trail podcast, but I was just thinking about this, as I listen to guys say that they're waiting on the water to turn on, or, they were just waiting on those fish to get active, or, it was just kind of perfect timing, and we've said this a bunch of times on the show, and some of the guys who've won multiple tournaments have said this, that sometimes it's just timing, and if you make the right decision and you go to a spot at a certain time, or if you do whatever at a certain time, and I got to thinking about how the Alabama Bass Trail started and how that relates how we started and where we are today. So I'm not going to be mushy, but I am going to just talk about that. Perfect timing is the idiom that means doing something at the exact right time or moment with the ideal speed to achieve the best result. And that kind of stuck in my head for a little bit. As I'm going through my office yesterday, I run across the very first letter that I ever sent to Governor Robert Bentley, as a request. He asked me to do so, and I did. But I was reading through that letter, and I got a little emotional. I'm not going to lie. That was June 26th of 2013. He asked me to do it on June the 22nd. Took a couple days to kind of get my wits about me, to put it to pen to paper. And so I sent the letter on June the 26th, 2013. Um, and I just kind of was thinking about what I thought the Alabama Bass Trail would be on June 22nd of 2013, just 2 short weeks of me actually leaving to go to my first ICAST. And just thinking about what I thought then and sitting here thinking what I think now. Um, cannot begin would never have begun to believe what the Alabama Bass Trail has grown into. And I want to talk about that as it relates to the Alabama Bass Trail in the perfect timing scenario. I think the Alabama Bass Trail was introduced at a perfect time, not because Kay Donaldson did it. And I want to make that very clear. I think it was introduced at a perfect time economically. I think it was introduced at a time that bass fishermen were looking for a solid team tournament trail outside of Texas, because that's who we looked to guide us when we started. I think it was a perfect time legislatively. I think the legislature has really been supportive of us. The governor's office was very supportive of us, and they are certainly still supportive of us. I think that it was everything looking back on the Alabama Bass Trail, from the first team we hired to the team that's currently in place, was perfect timing. My connection with Robbie Floyd was perfect timing. My connection to Phoenix Boats was perfect timing. When I look back at all of the relationships and partnerships that have been formed out of the Alabama Bass Trail, I keep going back to perfect timing. And I've heard it said podcast after podcast, whether it's on this podcast, on Luke Duncan's podcast, on any other podcast where an angler comes in and talks about a tournament or a situation or a decision, they talk about perfect timing. Um, and as that relates to where the Alabama Bass Trail is now, when we added TV coverage, when we added live coverage, when we changed and made the change from Robbie Floyd to Luke Duncan and Darian and Jason, um, it was all in perfect timing. And I believe that because we've seen great success from that. Um, I think that the growth we've experienced over the last 12 seasons or last 11 season going into our 12th season has been amazing. But I feel like it has also been very perfect timing. Um, I think that finding this letter on Sunday after coming back from ICAST was a little, um, I don't know, just sentimental for me. But it just reminded me that, we're not done. And I think the next part of that perfect timing is Angela Cross, who I got to spend a great deal of time with 2 weeks ago as she was here visiting and training with me. Got to spend more time with her at ICAST as she had her own appointments. But adding that next person, adding that next layer to the Alabama Bass Trail, and thinking about and hearing about all of the things that she knows, and it just makes it very, very perfect timing. I've struggled with hiring somebody for a long time, and trust me, I know my haters and I know the people who don't necessarily approve of how I do things. And I know they'll say, well, it was because of that my God complex, or that I just didn't want to let things go, or I'm a control freak. I think that's the one that's mostly used. But it's not about being a control freak at all. It's about spending time in prayer, and it's about spending time in finances and making sure that you don't interrupt someone's life for a 1 year or 6 month appointment, that you are interrupting someone's life to come and work for the Alabama Bass Trail and be successful, and that you can financially hold on to that person, and that I can't just pay them for a year and send them on their way. So it took a lot of time for me to be willing to relinquish some of these duties, because it has been my baby for 12 years. But it also was finding the right person and having the confidence in order to do that, having uh, our finances in the perfect order to do that. And again, I just relate that to perfect timing, um, meaning doing something in the exact right moment at the ideal speed for the best possible result. So I know that's a little mushy, but I truly believe that the changes we've made in the Alabama Bass Trail, from the entry fees to the payout to the hiring to the staff to the team to the TV to the live, um, the partners have just all been perfect timing. Um, you learn a lot when you start thinking about things like that. You start reading about things like that. And I can sit here and tell you a million reasons and a million scenarios as to where this held true on the Alabama Bass Trail. So it's funny that I saw this letter the day that I returned from ICAST, but it is certainly so fitting that I saw that. I am grateful for the confidence that Governor Bentley had in me some 12 years ago, and I am, I guess, 11 years ago. This is going into our 12th season, is what I keep thinking. I'm honored for the confidence that he had in me then. I'm honored that our board of directors continues to have that confidence in me. I am excited that Angela has the confidence in me to come to work for the Alabama Bass Trail. And I am honored that I still get to be a part of this movement. So, um, I would hope that as you think about the Alabama Bass Trail, and I hate to bore everybody with how we got started, but if you would like to hear that story, you're welcome to call me or send me a message, and I'll be glad to cover it on another podcast. But as I think back to June 22nd, 2013, sitting under a shade tree in Wetumpka, Alabama, or I'm sorry, Alexander City, Alabama, the foster kids we had were from there. I think about the perfect timing, and I think about also taking risk and taking opportunities, and it was a perfect timing, and so I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful that I get to continue this mission. So, as I lead into ICAST, and I want to just talk a little bit about that, um, it would be, it just would be unfair if I didn't mention that. It was really a cool thing to see that letter that kicked all of this craziness off. So, anyway, that stuck in my head all week. You know, as I prepare for this, and looking back at ICAST, I can actually see it playing a big part there. So, um, again, that was June 26, 2013. So, just over 11 years ago. Crazy, 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 crazy. For those of you who don't know, 3 months and 8 days after I got the notification on June 22nd to start the Alabama Bass Trail, we announced the very first season on steps of the Capitol on September the 30th. Had our first tournament on February the 1st of 2014, just 2 weeks prior to the Bassmaster Classic. So that was on Gunnersville. So a lot of fun. A lot has happened. A lot of water and fish under the bridge. So, thank y'all for indulging me just a little bit there. So, ICAST. First off, big show. It was a big show, but it was a smaller show really than what we've seen in the past from ICAST. I don't know if that's travel restrictions on certain companies. The fishing industry right now, especially the boating industry, is it's a little bit in a slump, but I don't know if it was travel restrictions. I don't know if media had travel restrictions. Orlando in July is not the cheapest place to travel to, especially with all the children that are going south to see the mouse. So it's not the cheapest place to go to, but it is a very good convention center. Everything is set up very handily for for ICAST. So I see why they go there. But I do see why it's not the cheapest place to go when you're surrounded with a bunch of kids that are wanting to go see the mouse. Um, so I didn't see as much media there as I normally would see, and actually I could see that on my phone. I could scroll through Facebook, I could stroll through Instagram, and I didn't see as much content out there as I would normally see during ICAST. So I'm not sure what that is, but there was quite a few notable faces that I did not see at ICAST this year. Um, but I do want to also mention ICAST is not a consumer show. It is not a show like the Bassmaster Classic, like the Red Crest or the East Tennessee Show, or whatever boat show that you attend. This is not a open show to the public. It is a show where manufacturers, distributors, retailers meet. A lot of new product launches are done. Some product rebrandings are done. Um, a lot of things are going on there, new packaging. You've got everything from kayaks, canoes to saltwater lures to freshwater lures to different rods and reels. And again, everything you can possibly imagine, life vest, nets, everything you can imagine at ICAST. But this is where the media can go in and they can get a video from a Kevin Van Dam or from a Fisher Anaya or from a Trey Swindle. And they're talking about this particular lure that was important to them and how this particular lure works or how this rain suit works and all the things. Um, Luke Duncan did a tidbit about the Alabama Bass Pro Pro Guide batteries in the Pro Guide batteries booth. So it is a place where manufacturers meet with retailers to do pricing, to do orders, to show them what's new, to show them when launch dates are, when release dates are, when they can be at their docks at their store. Academy is there, Bass Pro is there, Mark's Outdoors was there. A lot of times you have multiple distributors are there, so it is a place to do business. It's a place for those people to meet and talk about orders for the following year and how they're going to drop ship everything that they're going to do, where they're going to get price points, how the packaging is going to work, all the things. It is also where the media goes to get their videos, to get their content, because we know that social media is such a big part of what we do now. But it's also for those online stories, whether it be Wired to Fish, whether it be um, I don't know, Basscast, whatever. You've got radio hosts that are there. You've got podcast hosts that are there. They're interviewing people for snippets on the podcast. They're doing all kinds of stuff there. So that is going on. And then you have the media. You have Carico TV, you have Anglers Channel, you have all of them there that are talking about new shows that are coming up that they're trying to get funded. So they're meeting with potential sponsors. Can you pay for this on the Discovery Network? Can you pay for this on Pursuit? So they are trying to find their media partners who can produce their show, who can get it on the air, who can pay for it. So a lot of that is going on. And then you have people like me, and there were a lot of people like me. So I'm not just saying I'm the only tournament director out there that is there to meet with partners. I mean, MPFL was there; they were meeting with partner. BASS was there; they were meeting with partners. I have no idea if the people from MLF was there. I did not see them personally, but there was another National Fishing League, something was there. I had lunch with them right beside me. There were some crappie tournament people there. So there are tournament organizers, apologize, tournament organizers like myself there that are meeting with our partners. I met with roughly 15 partners, which is not as many as I've met with in the past, but certainly a good number to justify the amount of money I spent to go on that trip. But we're talking with current partners and potential partners. And that's one place that I can meet with 15 instead of trying to go to Kansas and Missouri and Wisconsin and Georgia and different places. So it is a perfect way to keep my travel costs down and to get to meet with not only our current partners, but with potential new partners. So that's why I go to ICAST. I know I saw on Facebook a couple times, people asking me why I would be at ICAST. How did I get invited? I don't get invited. I pay to go. They do approve you. So you can't just go and buy a ticket and walk in. You're vetted. Your organization is vetted to make sure that you meet the qualifications to be there. Because honestly, this is a business meeting. I had 15 business meetings. So just, kind of letting people know it's just not something that I can say, "Hey, you wanna go to ICAST? Yeah, come with me." It just doesn't work that way. Maybe retailers, distributors, they can do that. My organization being as small as we are, we just don't have open passes like that. Um, so that being said, I just wanna kind of touch some of those, comments that I got throughout the week. And then also I do wanna thank Garmin, Pro Guide, Rapala, Rather Outdoors, Power Pole, American Bait Works, Gill, and several others for meeting with me while I was at ICAST. Some, that we can't announce yet. Hopefully, we'll get to talk about them in the near future. Hopefully, they will become partners, but it's just not the time to do that. So, great show. Absolutely loved it. Loved the golf tournament. Loved being able to hang out with some of our industry friends and meet some new industry friends. Um, I was also there seemed like there was another question that someone asked me. Let's see here. Oh, another question I was asked. I guess you're tired from all the new things you saw at ICAST. Honestly, I'm not. I absolutely couldn't tell you one new thing that was released at ICAST. Angela probably could because she went through the new product showcase and she actually looked at the award winners, and she'll be doing more on that on social media. But my job at ICAST is not to look at new product or to try to get free samples. My job is strictly there to talk to our partners to see how we can better serve them and to possibly recruit new partners. Yes, I did some. Uh, Visiting while I was there with people that I consider friends, Andy Morgan and his sweet wife, and several others that I got to see. But I did not go and see all the new products. It just there's just not time for me to do that. If you saw me on social, I walked well over 11,000 steps every day. It is a very big convention center, and it is a lot. And I schedule appointments every 30 minutes. So I'd have an appointment, and then for 30 minutes, and then I would walk for 30 minutes and have another appointment. So that's kind of how I set up my day. The first year I went, I had 36 appointments in 2 days, and almost kill myself. So now I think of quality appointments instead of quantity. So as I mentioned, I'm there to strictly work on partnerships and fellowship, and have hopefully bring in new partners to the table in the following year. If not, I'm there to retain the partners that we currently have. And if you know anything about partnerships or sponsorships, if you've been doing it very long, uh, we're all fighting for the same money. And when you throw in NIL and you throw in social media influencers and all the things, it's all coming from the same pot. So we have to be there to take care of our partners and make sure that we're doing our very best for them. So, um, again, I cannot tell y'all. I hope, like everything, you get to meet Angela very soon. Hope to have her on the podcast next week. Let her talk to you a little bit about her background, her decision to come to the Alabama Bass Trail, what she has learned about the Alabama Bass Trail in the last 2 weeks, and maybe what she's learned I'll get her to tell you her phrase for working on communications around myself. So that'll be fun. Maybe we can get her on next week. But right now, we're going to take a quick break. I'm going to get a drink of water. We'll be back in just a little bit. We're going to talk a little bit about what's going on in the fishing world as well as what's going on in the Alabama Bass Trail world. And then we're going to wrap it up. No guests this week, just going over some Alabama Bass Trail things. But the next up, we'll talk about the championship. We'll talk about registration and a couple more things that we have going on with the Alabama Bass Trail. Thank y'all for watching. We'll be right back with the Alabama Bass Trail podcast presented by Phoenix Boats. Y'all stay tuned.
Things you let me see.
Welcome back to the second segment of the Alabama Bass Trail podcast and what is going on in the world of the ABT. We're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk a little bit about a little follow-up from some stuff from last week's podcast. But first of all, next week, or at the end of this week, I will be attending the Alabama Governor's Conference on Tourism. It'll take place in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, the 27th through the 30th. Looking forward to getting down there. We are a tourism organization. If you don't believe that, then I don't know where you've been for the last 11 years. We promote staying in our hotels. We're all about raising dollars for the state of Alabama, raising conservation through licenses, and then, of course, taxes that you pay in hotels, restaurants, gas stations, and all of that. We are a tourism organization, and I'm proud to say over the last 10 years in the Alabama Bass Trail, we have had over $92 million of economic impact to the great state of Alabama. So I will be attending that. It's a great time for me to meet with other tourism professionals, see how they're doing, seeing how the great state of Alabama doing, and finding other partners in ways that we can help grow the knowledge of the state of Alabama, as well as are there any legislative things that we have going on throughout the state that we can be helpful with. So looking forward to do that. Lee Centel, the state tourism director, has been a tremendous friend of the Alabama Bass Trail. We could not be where we are without him. And I look forward to seeing him and all the great ideas that he has for 2025. All right. Most of you know 2025 Alabama Bass Trail registration opens in just under, I don't know, 8 days. August 1st through the 14th is current team registration priority. You get 14 days of priority. You will get your team ID and PIN numbers on Thursday, I believe the 25th of this month, 1 week prior to registration opening. You will need your team ID and PIN number to register during priority. Once that is over on August the 15th at 5:30 a.m., it will be open to all new teams. There is a post on social media on Monday, July the 22nd, that gives you everything that you need to know about registration. We will be having a live prior to registration opening on the 15th. We'll show you all of the screens that you'll go through, how you'll need to navigate them, as well as any information that you'll need to get registered. I can tell you, I put it on the post this morning. Please, please, please use accurate information. Do not use the same cell phone number for both team members. Do not use the same email address for both team members, because when it gets down to communicating with you and I don't have each one of your emails, I'm going to have to stop, call you, write down a good email, and then go in and change it on every platform that we have. Please take the time, get good information, put it in the computer, and be as swift as you can, but be as accurate as you can. Out of 450 registrations on 2024, I guarantee you 165 of them had bad information. There's only 2 of us now, and we have to physically call and then change everything if you don't pay attention. So please write down everything. Please pay attention. Make sure that you've entered it correctly. And hey, if you put the information down twice because you don't have your partner's information, you have until December the 20th to make those changes. Go back and make the changes. Please, I'm begging you to please do that. It's a pain in the butt, but it's even more of a pain in the butt when you don't get your emails or you don't get your text messages about your boat number and you sit here and wonder why. And I have to tell you, because you put the wrong number in. I don't just stream these phone numbers up. I don't just stream these emails up. That's what you put in when you register. So be correct and be swift so that you get it in on time. All right. Another something coming up, and I'm excited about it, and I am a little bit sad about it. The Alabama Bass Trail, the Alabama Black Belt Adventures, the Alabama Department of Conservation, and Governor Kay Ivey's office will be hosting a memorial and dedication to our great friend James Big Daddy Lawler on August the 20th at 10 a.m. at Roland Cooper State Park. This will be a time that we will be honoring Big Daddy's service to the Black Belt region, to the Alabama Bass Trail, to conservation, and to the entire state of Alabama. His tireless work over the last 40 plus years of promoting tourism, promoting hunting and fishing in the Black Belt region should not go unnoticed. And we look forward to celebrating a great life well spent, as well as honoring him for his years and years and years of service. So I'm not going to say that it will be an easy day going back to Camden, but I look forward to seeing Mr. Jimmy Brock, Mr. Phil Cresswell, Mr. Keenan Agee, and all of the great people there in Camden that help make big events like the Alabama Bass Trail come true. So looking forward to that. Again, that's August 20th at 10 a.m. at Roland Cooper State Park. If you are in the area and would like to attend and show your respect for Big Daddy and for the entire Lawler family, please make plans to join us there in Camden. All right. On a happier note, the Alabama Bass Trail Championship is just over 86 days away. Lay Lake in beautiful Shelby County, Alabama. We are looking so forward to getting there. The list of the teams is on the website. If you have not tuned into that, we did post them on social media, but all of the teams are listed on the website. So you can check that out. I think it ended up being 171 teams that have qualified for the championship. $100,000 no entry fee championship. $50,000 going to first place, and we pay down to 25 places. So we'll talk about that a little bit closer as we get in to the late August, September timeframe. We could start getting some of those teams on here and talk about Lay Lake, get you a little bit of information there. But you can rest assured, Mr. Luke, Duncan, Darian, Craig, and Jason Duran will be out on the water for all 5 hours, giving you play-by-play coverage. So looking forward to that. Thanks to Kendall Williams and all the great people at Shelby County for being our host, and we look forward to making it down there. All right. One thing I'm going to, and if you ever do board meetings or you look at, kind of a a list of things that you cover on your board meeting stuff, you would see old business. So I guess this kind of falls under our old business. If you listened to last week's podcast, you heard me speak of the Unified Pros Ultimate Angler World Championship. First of all, I want to say and be very clear, I don't have a dog in this race. I do not fish any tournaments that are sanctioned to qualify for this event. So I 100% do not have a dog in this race. I think everyone should make the best choice for you. And after you do your homework and you make a decision, I think everyone should do the best thing for you. I have a lot of respect for Senator Steve Livingston. I have a ton of respect for him. I know he wants this to be an exceptional event. I know he wants this to be a great tourism event for the state of Alabama in a time of the year that really we need tourism events going on. I know that he has great plans for this. I know he has great expectations for this, and I have a tremendous amount of respect for him. But I do want to clear up a couple of things. I probably answered 50 or so questions about this from 50 or so different people at ICAST. So I want to just make some things very clear. And when I say this, this is just me putting information out there. Again, I have nothing but respect for Senator Steve Livingston. I know that he, in every way, wants this to be successful and to be a great tourism event for Jackson County. So, that being said, I want to just make clear that Alabama Bass Trail is not the organization that is taking care of this event. We are not running this event. We have nothing to do other than they have sanctioned us. We don't have any hands in the pot. None of that. So I think a number of people thought that this was us, but it is not. I just want to make that clear. The organizers of this event chose the tournaments that they sanctioned. They did not talk to me prior to this, and I know this because they did not talk to BASS, they did not talk to MPFL, and they did not talk to the Alabama Bass Trail. That doesn't mean it's wrong. It just means we didn't have any prior knowledge to this. So to tell you how it's going to work, to tell you how we think it's going to work, to my knowledge, if you're an Alabama Bass Trail team and you're a highest finisher that's paid the $500 entry fee, you make it into the tournament. Don't have a clue if one person's a member and one person's not a member. I don't know how that works. I don't know how it works from being a team tournament and going into this event if you're fishing as a team or if you're fishing individually. I don't know any of those answers. And to my knowledge, I can't find anything on the website that tells me anything about it. So I just honestly just giving you what I know. We certainly, as a tourism organization in the state of Alabama, we want this to be successful. But I have no way of knowing any of those details, no more than you do. So we wish them all the success. I know the people in Jackson County will take care of them. I know that Goose Pond will be a great host site for them. I know those ladies and gentlemen over there will work extremely hard to make it a successful event. But because I was given so many questions at ICAST, I wanted to go on here and reiterate, we wish them all the best. I know exactly what you know on the website. I have talked to some of the organizers that could not give me the answers to these questions. So I'm just telling you, if you do your homework and you decide to pay your $500 and you decide to be in that, great. Great. I have zero issues with it. I support you, support your decision. And I do hope this turns out to be a phenomenal event for the state of Alabama. I hope the state of Alabama sees great revenues from it. Jackson County sees great revenues from it. That would be the best news of all if that's successful. So we wish you all the best. And again, I do know that Senator Livingston has great intentions with this. I know he was a big supporter of this, and he loves his area, loves his community, loves his constituents. So I have no reason to think that it will not be a success. So all right, moving on. That was my only old business that I needed to cover. But I do want to go ahead and get this wrapped up, get you guys back out on the water in the great state of Alabama. I do hope you will subscribe, rate, and review the show on your favorite podcasting app, as well as, hey, if you've got something you want us to talk about, or if you got something or someone you would like for us to invite onto the show, inbox us on Facebook or on Instagram. Angela and I will get that. We'll see if we can't make that work. We'll be glad to interview most anybody that you want us to talk to about most subjects that you want us to talk about. So please make sure that you inbox us. You can always reach us at kkay@alabamabasstrail.org or Angela at alabamabasstrail.org. We'll see if we can't line those interviews up and answer the questions that you would like for us to. Or if you would like for us to do a live podcast, let us know. That's not something we've done a whole lot, but it may be something that y'all might like to see. So, all right. That covers just about everything I wanted to cover this week. I do hope to see you back out in the great state of Alabama, either on the water or at a local attraction or restaurant just anytime soon. I do want to remind you, good fishing, God bless. Let me rephrase that. God bless, good fishing. And as Big Daddy would always say, get outdoors. Y'all have a blessed day.
Thanks for listening to the Alabama Bass Trail Podcast. To learn more about the Alabama Bass Trail, make sure and visit alabamabasstrail.org.